Hello, everyone, and good morning. My name is Michael Bezabeh. Now, before I dive in, I just wanted to give you a little heads up. You see these papers, and these papers I'm holding contain my life story. Everything from the struggle and fears to the joy and love. So if you see me glued to this paper, it's not because I'm shy. It's just that my papers and I have become quite good friends. And because I'm not a native English speaker and not as young I used to be, I figure it's best to keep my notes close by. They are here to make sure I don't wander off starting telling you about the weather back in my hometown. Too often, addiction is seen as the struggle of individuals that they themselves must overcome. But my journey is one of the struggle and redemption and a proof to the power of community, faith, and hope. I share my story with you today, not as a man who has all the answers, but as someone who has walked through the darkest valley and found light, thanks to the love and support of others. My early years were spent in Addis Ababa, the capital where life moved fast, but my family was always my anchor. My mother was a dedicated nurse who knew the value of hard work and compassion. She was the heart of our family, always putting others before herself. My father tragically lost his life in the Ethiopian and Eritrean War. His passing left a void in our lives. But it's also instilled a sense of responsibility to honor his memory by striving for a better future. As a children, my brothers and I would sit around the dinner table, dreaming of possibilities beyond the horizon. We dreamed of a life where we could achieve our goals and make something of ourselves in the land of opportunity. My mother often spoke of her dreams for us, deeply rooted in her love for us and her belief in our potential. When I was 19, our journey took a significant turn. My brother and I left Ethiopia to Greece, the first stop on our path to a new life. The transition was anything but easy. We found ourselves in a land where everything was different. The language, the culture, the way people live, it was a struggle to find our place, to adapt to a world that foreign in every way. Yet, despite the challenges, there was a sense of hope. We believed that this was just the beginning of our journey and that better days were ahead. After a year in Greece in 1990, our mother and our brothers joined us and moved to Winnipeg, Canada. Winnipeg was cold both in temperature and in a reception we received. We stayed for a year before deciding to move to Vancouver in 1991, a city with more promise, or at least this is what we were told. By 1993, our family was reunited in Vancouver and were filled with optimism. We believed that this city, with its towering mountain and vibrant community, would offer us opportunity we had dreamed of. But life in Vancouver is not what we had imagined. We envisioned a land of opportunity where hard work and determination would lead to success. Instead, we were met with culture shock, isolation, and a harsh reality that life in a new country was not as simple as we had hoped. There were many challenges, and the support system we relied on Ethiopia were no longer there. We were starting from scratch, trying to build a life in a place that didn't feel like our home. The dream of opening a convenience store with my brothers was a shared vision we all believed in. Unfortunately, when that dream failed to materialize, it felt like the ground had been pulled out from under us. The disappointment was profound. I felt lost and disconnected from the life that I had known and the future I envisioned. It was during this time of profound displacement and failure that I first turned to drugs. It started in 1993 with marijuana. At first, it was just a way to cope with overwhelming feeling of failure and displacement. The more I used it, the more it became the support, a way to escape the reality I didn't want to face. And then one day, while searching the marijuana in East Hastings, I was introduced to crack cocaine. The addiction was immediate and consuming. It took a hold of my life in a way that nothing else ever had. My days became a blur of trying to feed my habit, and my nights were filled with regret and despair. For 3 years, I lived a life that was far cry from the dream my family and I had once shared. I was living on income assistance, barely surviving. Every penny not spent on rent went straight to my addiction. I begged my mother and my brothers for money, stole from them, and stole their belongings, all in desperate attempt to feed the monster in me. During those dark years, I was disconnected from my community and roots. I avoided the Ethiopian community, not because I didn't want them to be a part of I didn't want them to be a part of it, but because I was ashamed. I didn't want them to see that I had become then, to know that I had failed in every way that mattered. I felt I was no longer worthy of their support or love. But even in the depths of my addiction, there was moments of grace. For me, it was the Ethiopian church community who became the beacon of the hope in my life. Even when I was ashamed and avoid them, they didn't judge me or turn their backs on me. Instead, they reached out, offering support when I needed the most. There was a man in the church named Solomon who would often find me on the streets. He would buy me coffee, sometimes even a bus fare, and just sit with me and offering a listening ear and a kind word. He never preached to me, never made me feel small. He reminded me that I was not alone and there were people who still care about me. Similarly, my mother was devoted in her love and concern for me. She would search for me on the downtown east side almost every day, walking the street hoping to find me and bring me home. The toll it took on her was huge. She was heartbroken, watched her son fall deeper and deeper into addiction, yet she never gave up. But then something changed. There comes a point in every person's person's life when they must decide. Either continue down the path of destruction or find the strength to turn things around. For me, the moment came one day after a particular brutal incident on the street. I was laying in back alley, beaten, bruised, and alone. In that moment, I realized that if I didn't change, I wouldn't survive much longer. I couldn't bear the thought of leaving my mother with nothing but memories of her son as a broken man. The thought of the pain I was causing my family, especially my mother, who tirelessly searched for me every day, was too much to bear. I knew I had to do something. I decided it was time to seek help. The first step was the hardest, admitting that I couldn't do it alone. I enrolled in a Barnaby Fraser Health drug withdrawal program. The withdrawal program was brutal, both physically and mentally. I remember the cold sweat and the relentless craving, the moment of despair when I questioned whether I really can do it. There were times I relapsed, fall back into the habit that I had controlled my life for so long. Each time I felt the shame and the guilt were overwhelming, but I knew I couldn't give up. After several attempts, I finally completed the withdrawal program. But getting clean was just the beginning. I knew that I needed to rebuild my life from ground up. That's when I found a job as a janitor. It was a step up, a chance to reclaim my life. Working as a janitor was humbling, but it was also empowering. I was no longer reliant on drug. I was earning honest living. Every day, I show up to work, determined to prove to myself and those who believe in me that I could do this. The work was tough, often physically demanding, but it was exactly what I needed. It grounded me, gave me routine, and slowly I began to rebuild my confidence. With each paycheck, I was reminded of the value of hard work, the importance of integrity, and the satisfaction that comes from doing the job well. It wasn't just a job, it was a new beginning, a chance to prove to myself that I was capable of more. In 2002, I made a trip back to Ethiopia, to my home with my mother. During this trip, I was introduced to Abinesh, my beautiful wife, through my niece. From the moment I met her, there was something about her that gave me hope. I knew at that moment that this love story that we hear are true, because she was the woman I love. Despite knowing about my struggle with addiction, she accepted me with open heart. She didn't judge me for my past, but instead saw the person I could become. We spent the next 15 years communicating through letters and calls, building a relationship based on mutual respect, understanding, and love. Our relationship was a lifeline for me. It gave me something to hold on to, something to believe in. And in 2017, we were married. In January 2020, I sponsored her to come to Canada. And we started a new chapter in our life together. Abainesh, love and support have been instrumental in my recovery. She had stood by me through ups and downs, always believed in me, even I struggled to believe in myself. Today, I'm proud to stand in front of you as a security guard, trying to give back to the community that never gave up on me. I attend church and I'm involved in a community activity, something that has become a cornerstone of my life. My past is marked by struggle, but it's also shaped by the love and support of those who never give up on me. To those who may be struggling with addiction, displacement, or any form of adversity, I offer this advice. Never take a risk or try something without fully understanding the potential impact on your life. Stick with your faith, pray. Whatever this looks like to you, faith has so many different forms. It's all about heart. And know that's called the world because we do not live alone. So always reach out because there is someone out there who will reach out back. Addiction takes a toll on not only on the person struggling, but also on their loved ones. My mother's endless searching for me on the street of the downtown east side was burden I wish I could have spared them. As I stand before you today, I reflect on the journey that has brought me here. It has been a journey marked by struggle, love, and support. My story is not just about overcoming addiction. It's about the power of community and never giving up on those you love. You may never know the impact of a kind word, a helping hand, or a cup of coffee. It can make all the difference. Thank you for listening to my story. May it inspire you to believe in new beginnings, to seek support when you need it, and to never lose hope. Remember, no matter how dark the past may seem, there is always a way forward. It's a beautiful future that we held.